Yasmin was poisoned when she was 3 years old. She lived in Milwaukee in low-income housing, and as a result of her poisoning, she had an elevated blood lead level of 48 micrograms per deciliter. That is a catastrophic amount of lead. She was hospitalized on an emergency basis. Yasmin went home after that hospitalization, and 3 years later, when she was 6 years old, she was living in another apartment and again got poisoned, again was hospitalized, again had extremely high blood lead levels. So when Yasmin got to school age, she had a lot of learning disabilities, and as a result, Yasmin was in special education. And as a result, Yasmin will suffer these consequences for the rest of her life. I currently represent 173 children who've been poisoned by lead. At first, what I did was I sued landlords. And over time, I came to realize that these landlords were often really not that much at fault. The real culprits here were the people who put the lead in the paint. In January of 1900, the Sherwin-Williams Company published in its employee newsletter an article saying that lead is a deadly cumulative toxin. They own the lead mines, they own the smelters, they own the refineries, and they own the paint companies. And they knew that if they put the lead in the paint, that lead would never be recycled back into the market. This was a greed-based operation from the start. We have memos from the Lead Industries Association from the 1950s where they just say, you know, this is all a big problem for us, but they packaged it and they put it away by saying, because, well, after all, it really only affects the poor and and in their words, the Negroes and the Puerto Ricans. So they just said, we're just going to deal with this as a public relations problem. We're going to fight regulations. And that's what they did. In 2010, Scott Walker was elected governor of the state of Wisconsin. And the very first thing Scott Walker did was what he called a tort reform package that included within it a provision that prospectively changed the law so lead-poisoned children could no longer sue the lead paint manufacturers. And in June of 2013, Motion 999 was inserted into the very back of a 600-plus page budget. 2 paragraphs that retroactively took away the rights of 173 children who had cases pending in federal court. Out the window you go. When corporations can retroactively change the rules of engagement, the rules of judgment, the rules of decision in cases in which they face potential liability because they have the power and the money to influence politicians through things like this Club for Growth thing and the lobbying of the state legislature. When they are able to do that, then there's no hope for the little guy. There's no hope for the people who make this country what it is. This is a total perversion of the American dream. It's a total perversion of what every child, I guess, is taught in basic civics, that this is a free country, a nation of laws.